Solvi Bjorn Sigurdsson from Iceland.
What is the question most commonly asked by your readers back home?
Is this your mother you wrote about? And from there on I take it to my mother going to my hometown in Iceland, where I grew up. And someone thought she was actually dead because I wrote this novel about a dead mother. But no, so it's not quite my mother I was writing about.
As you say, how do you answer that question?
I just say no. It's not my mother. And well, I try to elaborate some stuff, but well, it's a really the character is pretty wild, heavy drinking woman in her 60s who has really who has some strong views on life and on everything, and can sound a bit prejudiced to people that don't know that how she thinks. So I mean, but she's kind of funny as well.
Yeah.
So there are some jokes from my mother in there, but I wouldn't say that this character was based on her.
Is there a single book, author, or teacher who at this point in your career seems to you a singularly strong influence?
Of another...
a single book, author, or teacher influence on you?
Well, of course, I wrote about... I took Dante on and I redid him, but I can't call him an influence. It's more like a... You know, I put him in some mixer and then I had a new product. But I was pretty... I really liked the perfume when I read the perfume some years ago, and it changed some articles I wrote. I started to write in a more elevated laboratory style, which I'm trying to quit now, but I really like that book because of its strong language and great plot and stuff.
Where do you usually write?
I go to a place in Sweden, which is a residency for translators and writers in Visby, on Gotland. It's an island, and it's a great, beautiful little place where you just have your room, and there's not even internet in the room, so you just have to sit down and write. And I try to go there every year for 3 weeks or so and do a lot of writing, in a short time. But then I go to the library or down to a tiny basement room I have back home in Reykjavik. So just wherever fits.
What are the hardest or harshest environmental circumstances in which you've managed to write?
The panel I had to do for here, I wrote on the plane on my way here, but it was not harsh at all because I had like a really big seat. Because I don't know, probably by mistake I was put on business class, so I was there in a lounge really. So I can't say that. But let's see. Must be some. Well, the lobby, of course, the Iowa House Hotel lobby, where I had to finish my Shakespeare translation because my computer crashed and I didn't have a computer in my room. And this was basically, and I had to do it. I had a deadline in the morning, so I had to stay up 20 hours in the Iowa House Hotel lobby and work on the customer computer, which I was probably hated for because no one else could use it. But I was stuck there. So that was it was not convenient at all.
How do you recharge your batteries?
With a charger. I like to go to the countryside, and I go fishing in the summertime, and I like to spend time in nature. with friends, maybe go to a summer, like my friends have a farm in the south of Iceland, like a small holiday farm, and they're really generous with that, and let me go whenever I want to. So that's a refuge which I really enjoy going to, and that just to hang around with no worries around. I like that.
If you've found one, what is your favorite quiet place in Iowa City?
The Fox at 12 o'clock on a Friday night. Well, there are. I sometimes go walking in around here, north of here, just around the
city park.
Yeah, here somewhere. And well, there are some nice parks. And I haven't really worked a lot in the cafes by some reason, because I have a view of the river in my room, and I just enjoyed working in the room, so that's really a quiet place in a way.
Yeah. What has most surprised you here?
I don't know if it's a surprise. First, when I heard Iowa City, I thought it was a big city with some skyscrapers and maybe like 1 million people. But that's just down to my ignorance. And then someone had told me before I came that it wasn't such a big place. But it kind of surprised me maybe that because I've driven a bit around the state, and it seems to be a farmer's state, and it's a state of industry and farming, and so to have this really cultural place in the middle of that, it's kind of, there's a really strong literary scene here compared to lots of much bigger places, and I don't know if it's so surprised because you have the university, but still, everyone seems to be interested in the literary scene, everyone I met at least.
Can you imagine anything specifically from this time finding its way into your work?
Yeah. I think in my next book it's gonna be there anyway, like a small section taking place in an American university town. So when I was called and offered to come here, I was really glad to get the experience of seeing such a town. And I don't know if it's going to be Iowa City in that book, but maybe it's going to be a nameless town. I don't know yet, but at least these surroundings and this community will definitely find its way there in one way or another, I suppose.
This is the last question. Who is a writer?
Me.